Want you out. Want you out. You worried too much about what's going on over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be over there building that house for months.
Mm-hmm.
You may as well get used to it. I don't think there's anyone here yet.
I got a notification.
Notifications have been sprinkling out. Rancid bunny. Gross. Just quit university in your 4th year. That's got to be a tough decision. I won't shit on you for it. It's your life, but like 4th year, bro. That's like that's like quitting a race right at the middle of the downhill portion into the fucking finish line, isn't it?
Sometimes you gotta do it, man.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not judging it. It just must have been a tough decision.
Sunk cost fallacy and all that.
Yeah, true that. You definitely don't want to get caught up in sunk cost fallacy when it comes to like the direction of your life. Well, definitely want to avoid it there.
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit pause on your academic career and you don't lose the credits that you've already gained. So that's a nice thing. So you've got, more than enough time in your life to go back if you want to. So focusing on your health and stuff is always a good decision if you can. If you're in a position where you can. A lot of people don't get the luxury of that decision. Hay is for horses, Chadwick. I had a teacher that hated hay. I guess back when I was grade schooler, that was like the dude, of today. It's like, hey. I had a teacher that would be like, don't say hey to me. She thought it was like totally like informal, and I don't know what she had a hang up. Everybody says hey. Hay is for horses, yeah. Wish I was smart and articulate enough as a kid to have a comeback to that, She's like, hay is for horses. And I'll be like, no, dried grass spelled Hay is for horses. Hey is a popular colloquial greeting in America, and it means hello. Then what? Probably would have got suspended or something. That sounds like suspension material. Sup wasn't a thing back when I was a kid. Like, what's up was new when I was a kid. Like saying, what up? What's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? That was like how we hadn't truncated it yet to sup.
Well, maybe one day humans will figure out a way to live without the meaningless fucking greeting.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for getting people's like attention, and it's good for like signaling the start of an interaction, I guess.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't just like walk up to somebody and be like, the totalitarian regimes of old must be defeated. You gotta like, hey, what's up? I want to talk. You gotta have something. But for so many people, like that's where it starts and ends.
Yeah.
Like they want to be like, "Sup," and then you're like, "I don't know, what's up with you?" And they got nothing. You up is the superior text greeting, dude. I'm so glad I don't have people to do that to me. You up? I am now.
I think the questions where you don't actually want to know the answer.
Like, how have you been?
Yeah.
And shit. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why it exists, but it's definitely like lost its purpose.
Yeah. Well, like even like when we were watching like Barry Lyndon, they're saying, "How do you do?" and they just said, "How do you do back?" No one wanted to know.
Right. That's what it's a holdover from. It's like a politeness of pretending that you care about another person's life or whatever. It's giving them deference and then receiving it back, you know.
I'd rather people just say "Hey" or "Yo" or
Yo.
an exclamation.
What about what up?
That's still a question.
It is. But does it feel the same as how do you do? I
Kinda
guess
does.
kind of, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's like some value in just throwing out a greeting, you know? If you just like see somebody in public that you don't necessarily want to have a talk with, you can give them the, I don't know. Human beings are strange.
Animals got it figured out. They just sniff each other's butts, and that's their greeting.
Man, I'm glad we don't do that. I'll take a hi, how are you over a butt sniff, dude. I don't want to do that shit. I'd be considered the rudest bastard in the world if butt sniffs were what I was supposed to do. Dude, the upward head nod. That's a good way to do it. We used to do that in high school all the time. If we didn't want to like have a whole ass conversation with somebody, we just wanted to say hi. You just give them one of those, you know. They'll do that. There you go. You just had a whole nonverbal fucking what up conversation. Bye, peeps. I was told the upward head nod was a white guy thing. No, the upward head nod is just a guy thing, I think, and it can be aggressive too. Like it's totally like about the eyes and the context of it. It's just a dude thing. Maybe women don't do it as much. I'm sure they do it here and there, but like for a dude, this upward like thing that can mean, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I see you. It can mean like, what's up? You know what I mean? It can have that connotation. Like, here I am. I see you.
I do more like waves, like in high school. I remember just being like,
Yeah, waving. Women, that's considered to be a more feminine way of saying hi, I think, at least when I was in high school. But yeah, no, I never noticed a racial divide on the male head nod. It seems to be ubiquitous as far as I can tell. The fist bump. Oh boy. I'm ready to just do away with handshake greetings in total. And I'm a person who actually thinks they served a purpose at one point. Like I really do think that like back when I was a kid, maybe my generation was really the last one that placed importance on this, but like your handshake meant something as a dude. It was another male thing, but like you were supposed to have a firm, well practiced handshake or something about that. The hot new trend, the elbow bump.
We did that with my dad, remember?
That's true. We did do the elbow bump. I guess we had to. It's the dead middle of COVID.
The very beginnings of it. No one knew what it was 100% really.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first month or two. Poor dad literally just moved to Guam and they're like, nope, never mind.
What a mind fuck. It's kind of cringe to see politicians do it. It's kind of cringe to see politicians do anything other than like improve the lives of the people that elected them. All of the stupid shit that they've learned to do to be more appealing to us is pretty cringe to me. Look at me, Jack. I'm going to an ice cream parlor. Just like you do. I'll take a double scoop of mint chocolate chip. Isn't that how normal people do it? Hey, look at me. I'm having a hot dog at a little local hot dog stand. This is just how normally I spend my time.
Yeah, the FTC is looking into McDonald's ice cream machines.
Because they're broke so goddamn much?
Yeah.
Fucking finally. It is long past time for McDonald's to get rid of those goddamn fucking ice cream machines. Because they are broke 9 times out of fucking 10. And they have been since I was a kid, dude. Since I was little, my mom we'd go through the fucking drive-thru at a McDonald's every once in a while. And it was, dude, it was like rolling a fucking 20-sided die with one win position. If you could get a fucking ice cream out of that place or a milkshake. They need to just quit pretending they got it. Quit pretending they offer a thing that they only offer every fucking like once a week. You know what I mean? Not good. The FTC should look into that shit. Why is your ice cream machine broken every day? That's exactly what it is. The machines are hard to clean out. And so a lot of times what they will do is they'll just tell people they're broken so they don't have to clean the fucking thing at the end of the day. Dude, I'm sorry, but that's part of your fucking job if you're working there. Like, I worked at a Starbucks. Cleaning out the fucking espresso machines was a bitch. I didn't tell people we were out of coffee.
Dairy Queen's got it down. They can handle it every day, day in and day out.
Yeah, how is that? How is it that we've got places like A&W and Dairy Queen and fucking Frosty Queen and all these places that are like constantly fucking serving soft serve ice cream out the asshole every day? Dude, when I was a kid, I went to this little place in Madeira. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was this little old-fashioned greasy spoon kind of drive-in place. And it had, you get ice cream. Like it's the whole thing was like the sign for it was a big soft serve ice cream. But they had like hot dogs and hamburgers and shit. Dude, I never went there one time. And was like, yeah, I want a milkshake or something. And they were like, our milkshake machine is broken. For some reason, their shit was always up. Yeah, like a root, no, more like a little, just like a walk-up greasy spoon. I'm trying to remember the name of that place. I can't believe I can't remember it. I keep wanting to say Cinderella, but it's not Cinderella. But it's something like that. Snow White. That's what it was called. So it was called Snow White. It was just a little fucking like privately owned diner spot, always jumping. It goes deeper. The machines are only fixable by the Taylor company that has a monopoly on McD's machine. Corporate McD's is fucking the franchise owners. Watch the documentary on YouTube. I don't care that much.
Well,
I'm just glad the FTC is on it. You know what I mean? Because I want to get to the bottom of this. Why McDonald's can't get a working ice cream machine?
Yeah, like fuck their monopoly. It's like they have enough money to break a goddamn contract and get a new design of ice cream machine.
Well, they have cause to break a contract if their ice cream machines are like now triggering an FTC investigation. Like they have cause to break the fucking contract. It's like I just don't understand it though. It's just like, why would there be some kind of weird conspiracy to have a menu item but not offer it? Like I looked down at the end of the road of this and I go, okay, so there's a fucking company that has an exclusive servicing contract and the machines are designed in such a way as they need constant maintaining, but they're not being, what is the fucking thought process behind that? Pissing people off? Like I just don't understand it. Like what's the scam? They're not getting my money if the fucking shit is closed. If I go in there to get a McFlurry and that's all I want and they tell me our fucking ice cream machine is broken, I'm not going to grab a fucking hamburger. So they're not getting my money. Like I would understand it if they were somehow scamming people out of their fucking money or whatever the fuck, but they're not. They're literally like they got something on the menu that's not there. So really all they're doing is pissing people off. Like that's the only outcome from this that I can see is like annoying your customers when they pull up to your fucking thing and they go like, oh, I want a McFlurry, going like, oh, our ice cream machine's broke.
It's like ice cream's a very specific craving. There's not a lot of things that can replace an ice cream craving.
That's true. Like, so either don't offer it so people don't come to you for it, or make sure that you have it on hand. Yeah, that's where they store the drugs. Yeah, the ice cream machines are just hollowed out like hiding places for the drugs that they're muling out of there. How far they can push you? For what though? What are they pushing? Like you want an ice cream cone and you can't have one? It doesn't really seem like much of a push. It just seems like a deliberate inconvenience. 25% of Taylor's income is fixing a machine. Corporate McDonald's have a long-standing deal with Taylor, so if any of the franchise owners trying to circumvent the situation, McD's drops them. Once again, I don't understand, like, whatever. I just can't see how that's a useful fucking business relationship. Like, oh, we've been paying you thousands and thousands of millions of dollars for years and years to do nothing, and we want to continue that. Like, why? Why would the people that own McDonald's want to continue pissing off customers to the point of triggering an FTC investigation just to keep up a long-standing business contract that they have that's only lucrative one way? They're paying this company, they're paying 25% of this company's bottom line so that they fix their ice cream machines, and their ice cream machines are broken day in and day out. Like, what's the hand in glove here?
Yeah, like you said, like they can easily void that contract since it's non-functional.
They're not fucking holding up their end of it, and if they tried to sue them, McDonald's would fucking win, and they've got the money to defend themselves.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand, like, what the business, like, I can understand if it was like, oh yeah, we make money and then we'll pass that money back to you. So it was just like a little tax scheme or something. But this just seems like, what it seems like is like a company desperate to prop up a company that's worthless, that doesn't do their job, which doesn't seem like anything that a business would do. Like, trust me, McDonald's at the top level, I can't imagine they're like, we want to be known as the place where you go to get an ice cream but get disappointed. That's going to get people through the door. So, you know what I mean? Like, think about that. What business person wants to be like, how do we disappoint our customers? How do we make our customers have a disappointed feeling every time they cruise through our place? It's like, so it just doesn't compute to me.
Yeah, unless there's like some specific clause in the contract, like this cannot be voided for failure to deliver, which that's not even a contract.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fucking weird. It just, like, I'm having trouble understanding what benefit could possibly be going towards McDonald's and maintaining this contract. It's obvious to me that this Taylor company or whatever the fuck has a benefit to maintaining this contract. That 25% of their bottom line comes from it. But on the McDonald's side, what do they get out of the contract? Annoying their customers every fucking day because the ice cream machine is never fixed and they're not allowed to work on it themselves. McDonald's owns parts of Taylor. Do they? I mean, if that's true, that makes it like a possible like money laundering, tax evasion kind of thing, because at that point McDonald's can claim loss of income due to their ice cream machines and take that off the tax bottom line, and then make sure that tax write-off is there every year. Or our ice cream machines were down, an average of 25% of the time at all locations, and that's a $7 million fucking tax write-off or whatever the fuck. You're probably right then.
But yeah, in that case, they need to be extricated from each other.
Yep. They need to get slapped with a big fat fine and be told, like, either offer a menu item that you can fucking deliver to people or remove it from your fucking stores.
Yeah, or fucking break your contract, because it's obviously a weird fucking contract that's just.
I mean, if there's
on the back.
If there is criminal like underpinnings to them losing revenue on lost ice cream sales to do a tax write-off, then they need to be fucking majorly fined going all the way back. They need to be re-audited. Like, if that was a normal average person and the IRS audited them or something and found out that they'd been like taking a deduction that was fake for fucking 20 years, that person's going to owe every dollar of that deduction. I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard from like people that work there that like, oh yeah, they have to be cleaned so often and that's why they're down, because they're like bacteria hives, and I'm just like, how the fuck are these other places keeping their ice cream machines running then?
Yeah, it's not like it's some magical formula of ice cream that's like terribly different from other ones. Like fucking Costco always has their giant ice cream things.
I don't know. And see, I don't know the rules. I never worked at a McDonald's. I do know from working at a Starbucks for a long time that there are certain machines and certain components that have to be cleaned and sterilized a certain amount of times a day. You can't just like wait until night to do it all. You have to keep things clean and swapped out and get, So I assume there's rules for that too, but that just doesn't. It's way too fucking common. I don't even order ice cream or anything from fucking McDonald's. Number one, it's not great there, and number two, like I've just gotten so used to going through and going like, yeah, you know what? Give me a McFlurry on that. Oh, our ice cream machine's broken. I just stopped ordering it. I don't even consider that McDonald's has fucking ice cream or milkshakes. And I think that's probably most people. It's like a meme. Dude, I think that's it. I think I just stumbled onto it. If it's true that McDonald's owns parts of Taylor, then this is a tax scheme. That money paid out to Taylor for maintenance on the machines is a write-off. The more maintenance the machines need, the bigger the write-off. The more lost revenue from the machines being non-functional, the bigger the write-off. It's just a big tax scam. The ice cream tax scam. Taylor makes the machine at Wendy's. Well, they probably don't have a contract to exclusively fix them. Like Wendy's probably has handy people or trains somebody at the store to fix these fucking machines. That's what I would guess. Yeah, dude, I've never gone to a Wendy's and had them tell me that I couldn't get a Frosty. Never. Now, I'm not a dude that's gonna order a Frosty all that often, but I'm just letting you know. Never been denied a Frosty. Never pulled up and been like, let me get a medium Frosty, and had them tell me, oh, sorry, no Frosty for you. Never happened. Someone created software to fix the machine interface for franchise owners, and McDeed's put out a notice that they'll drop franchisees for using it. Yeah, there's a tax scam going on then. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. There is a tax scam going on. And it's probably not even a fucking scam as it's defined in the tax code, because the tax code is incredibly lenient to giant corporations as to what they call profit and loss. So it's probably just a tax exploit. We have a thing that we offer that people want. We offer a ton of other things. Let's make that one thing hard to get because the machines are constantly down. So that we can say, hey, you know, if the machines had 85% uptime, we would have made $70 million on ice cream last year. But because they only have 35% uptime, we only made $20 million last year on ice cream. That's a functional loss of $40 million, 50 mil. Write that off. I think we just got to the bottom of it, y'all. I think that's it. Just had to ask questions, yeah. I just had to think like a corporation for a second. Sad thing is, if there is an investigation, McDonald's will probably just get a slap on the wrist and be allowed to continue the same things. Breaking the law and getting caught breaking the law, this is something a lot of people don't know. Breaking the law and getting caught breaking the law is one of the worst things that can happen to a private citizen. It is part of business for a corporation. It is way less expensive to continuously break the law and risk getting caught and popped with a fine once or twice than it is to adhere to the law. And so it is a matter of business that large corporations, banks, big retail outlets and stuff hide money in ways that's gray legally, because it costs less when they get caught and fined than it would cost them to adhere to the actual rules. And you don't got to take my word for it. You can look it up. There are lists of all of the criminal charges that have been filed against all these big giant corporations. Tax evasion, misappropriation of funds, insider trading, stock manipulation, all these things. It's just, these businesses continue to run. They're fined $20 million or whatever when they get caught. And to them, that's a drop in the bucket. They saved, $200 million by breaking the law. So there you go. 10% sounds about right. And they keep the rest. I don't even really think it's like jail is needed. Here's what I think should happen. You go into a company and you find that there are multiple instances of tax evasion and law breaking going on in the company, and the company is broken up. That's just it. You don't allow a company to exist that doesn't follow the rules. That's how you increase your tax base. Trust me, somebody will fill the gap that's more than willing to play by the rules. Somebody's more than willing to make $100 million instead of $300 million. Break them up. Shut them down. Oh yeah, dude. They will be up your ass if you owe the IRS a couple grand. They'll be on you every fucking day, calling you, fucking sending threatening letters, showing up at your fucking house and shit. These motherfuckers skip out on millions of dollars of tax burden every year as a primary fucking action. Part of business. Good old two-tiered justice system. Justice for me, but not for thee. Companies obeying laws and getting fines. Communism. Communism. Oh, what are you, buddy? You're cool. Let me show you guys this guy. Come up here. Come on, crawl on me. Get up on there. I want to show people what you are. What is this guy? See this little dude? He's got a real weird shape. Are you a moth? Aphid? What are you, bud? A stink bug? Well, he didn't stink me. He didn't spritz me with any stink. Maybe he thought I stank enough. Yeah, probably. You got me there. Stink bug. Stink. Stank. Stunks. Do you think exterminators are immoral? I don't know. Maybe yes. It just depends. Getting into the morality of killing animals is such a fucking touchy subject because it's not a black and white issue, and I don't know. It's just not something that I think I'm too stoned to get into that conversation today. As I kill a fly for no reason other than it pleases me to do so. You saw the salt leave the barrel, yeah. Dude, it's like a shotgun, man. I've shot a couple of flies that are sitting on my bare feet out here. And so I've taken the salt shot, and it stings. But you can really see how it's enough to kill a fucking fly. They just drop. Can we get some slow-mo shot? I don't have a slow-mo camera. And if I did, I don't know that I would waste it on shooting flies. It's Labor Day, by the way. Well, tomorrow is, technically. A lot of people celebrating Labor Day this weekend, though. Well, that's not true. I'll be celebrating Labor Day today with my labor family. So, you know, there are still people out there that observe, just fewer and far between. Do you guys have Monday off? I don't really know how to answer that. This week, the answer is no. This week, we will be meeting, at the very least meeting, and hopefully shooting some content on Monday. The guys are working on setting up some temporary shooting areas for themselves and shit. So. I can't wait for them to get out of that state. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can understand, like, the pull of a place that you grew up in and that you're, like, that you know stuff about, but I just don't understand, like, what the fucking... I don't understand what the impetus is for people. I stayed there like 2 years longer than I wanted to. And at the end of that 2 years, I just set a fucking personal deadline, and I was just like, I'm getting the fuck out. One way or the other, I'm getting myself the fuck out. And it just so happened that some shit cropped up that made it even fucking easier for me to get the fuck out. And I got the fuck out. And that's it. And that's like also, it's one of those things too. It's like, I paid my dues in terms of moving to places that other people have chosen. Never again. Never again. Like, I've bounced all over the fucking country living in places because other people wanted to live there. Never again. My wife and I will decide where we live, and that'll be that. So, you know, if the guys end up moving to a place that's attractive to both me and my wife, then there's a good chance we all, you know, are in the studio together again. But if they move to a place that's dog shit, I'm not living in a place that I fucking hate again. Just isn't gonna happen. Paid my dues on that shit, trust me. Been all around the fucking world at the behest of other people. Well, not the world, but the country. And I'm just done with that. I don't think TJ and Scotty are going to move to California. I don't think that's an option for them. I just don't think that they like it here, and that's fine. I don't like it here either. I don't see myself living in California forever. I would not live in Ohio. I won't live in any place that doesn't have legal marijuana in the United States. I refuse to have to go to a dealer to get fucking weed ever again. It's not the only consideration that I have, but it's definitely an exclusionary factor in states. Florida is also a shithole. I would never in a million fucking years move to Florida. I've been to Florida one time, and that was enough times for me, twice actually, and that was enough times for me. I went to Orlando and spent like a week and a half in Orlando. Bullshit. Went to, what's that fucking shit up on the Panhandle? The beach. White Sand Beach there up in the Panhandle. That place was kind of nice. Pensacola, yeah. Pensacola was all right, but I went like during the off season. I went when it was cold, so there wasn't a lot of people in the touristy parts of town, so it was pretty cool. Had the beach pretty much to myself. I wouldn't want to be there in the dead summer. It's not much, but I hope it helps you with something. Well, thank you. Pig Wheels beanies are back on Amazon. Dope. I should pick up a few. See if there's a way that I can get them circumventing Amazon. I'm pretty sure that there is. Because I don't order from Amazon anymore. I canceled my Amazon Prime account, what was it, a few months ago. It's still actually in effect, but I do not order from Amazon anymore. What's the last state that you would move to? Louisiana. I would pretty much move to hell before I move to Louisiana again. I don't understand why anybody would willingly subject themselves to that shit after having done it myself. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I'll bounce to next. I'm thinking inland, Pacific Northwest. Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, although the politics there suck. The fucking ability for me to get a little place that's secluded seems to be a little higher than in some areas of the world. You want to run the show, Scrub J? Why don't you come on down and run the show? Scrub J has a lot to say. Have you considered Alaska? Yeah. Yeah, I've considered Alaska. I would have to take a trip up there and really check it out and see what it's like. Montana, I don't know. Let's put it this way. Once it's safer to do so, I need to do a lot of traveling. What do you need from a state besides legal weed? Relatively available, small, secluded places. So the ability to be near enough to civilization to be able to go to the store when I need to and grab things when I need to, but being far enough away from it that I don't get bothered ever. I want to have like a really small, unassuming place that's back off, hard to get to, kind of that type of thing. A compound, if you will. Would you do a cabin? I mean, if it was like reasonably furnished, yeah, I'd do a cabin. I mean, it would have to, like, for me to do my job, it has to have internet. It has to have, you know what I mean? I have to have those things. So it's going to have to be someplace that's, like I said, reasonably situated near civilization. So, New Mexico, Colorado, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts all fit the sort of rural weed legal thing you're looking for. Check out the areas around Taos, Trinidad, Machias, and the Berkshires. I mean, it all, it also heavily depends on like the price of shit, right? The price of like, I'm okay with cold climates. I don't relish the idea of fucking shoveling snow and shit, but I think I could live with doing it if it meant having a reasonable sense of protection and autonomy just from prying eyes and the prying noises of other people. I spent a lot of years living with just like right on top of a bunch of people, a lot of years. And I'm burnt. Like, even the place I'm in now, which is relatively secluded, especially compared to the last place I was at, still has too many people. I see too many people. I hear too much of their bullshit. Not far away enough. Not remote enough. I need to get all the way the fuck out. Yeah, hearing the neighbors' music, hearing their cars go by all day and night, and all their bullshit. Like, if somebody across the way over there gets in a fight out on their porch, I can hear the fucking whole thing. It's, you know what I mean? It's enough. I don't want to hear people bickering at each other. I don't want people coming up to me. I don't want people saying hello to me. I don't want none of that. out on my own, have a little piece that's just me. Place that's not huge, but big enough for me to build a little outbuilding and use it as a recording space / chill space / creative space, so I can have a division between what I work in and what I live in. That's it. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. You don't like people. I do. I like people well enough. I just don't like having my personal life intruded upon by people. Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up in total seclusion, but I grew up in a place where, you know, the first place that I lived in when I was a kid was out in the country. And so we had neighbors and shit, but the neighbors, it was so, the plot of land that we all lived on was so remote that what happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas. You know what I mean? That was just the state of nature for me as a kid. And the older I get, the more I need that. The more I realized that that was part of the key to my happiness, is that there were a very small group of people that even knew where the fuck I was. And they were the only people I ever interfaced with. And everybody else stayed the fuck away from me. I don't think it's as hard as you think to get cell service and internet in the type of place I'm talking about. There are tons of towns dotted all over the American landscape that exist right up against relative wilderness, and there are various, properties and stuff available that are just 3 or 4 miles from the town, but up a little private road and gated at the entry and all that shit. To where, like, there's just no way a person could fucking non-deliberately fucking even come see me. You know what I mean? They would have to make it a fucking whole ass point to come see me. There's tons of places like that. Just a little farther out from where I am now is exactly that, right? Talk and present as a really social person, but inwardly crave isolation and solitude. What is this dichotomy about? Are you just more selective with when and how you want to be social? So there's really no like dichotomy there. I'm an ambivert. And so an ambivert is a person who craves both. Like, when I want human interaction, I get it. When I don't want it, I want everybody the fuck away from me. So yeah, ambiversion is how I live my life. It always has been. I'm a solitary person for a good chunk of my life, and then I'm a very social person for a good chunk of my life. I have a social battery. When I talk to other ambiverts, you'll often hear them talk about having a social battery, which is like, my social battery is almost recharged by the time that I spend alone, or the time that I spend, just with my wife and my animals and living in my own space, not dealing with anybody. And then once it's, reasonably full, I feel like I have a desire to go out and spend that energy. And once it's spent, and I'm done. And I can, I can exist in situations where my social battery is constantly drained, as I have for a lot of my life, but I'm not happy. Social battery, yeah. You gotta love it. You gots to love it. Woo! Take a look at the ashy table and my grinder. Ashy table and grinder. Ashy table and grinder. Ooh, so ashy. So ashy. It's like today, I'm going to spend some social battery today. I'm going to go hang out with my family for Labor Day and have a big barbecue, and it's going to be fun. And by the end of the day, I'm going to be done. And I'm going to come back and live a more solitary life for a week and recharge my social battery and not of course excluding my work, which is very social. I guess if anything, I get paid to socialize for a living. Yeah, no, I just kind of toughed it out here. I mean, it got to the point where I did a lot more night streams and early morning streams because that's when it's most tolerable here in the deep of summer. But I think Amelia set off the fucking smoke alarm with the steam from the bathroom again. We've got a smoke alarm that's placed in like just the like worst place. When you steam up the bathroom with a shower, it like when you open the door and the steam comes rushing out, the fucking fire alarm goes nuts. I thought fire alarms are supposed to be able to tell the difference between steam and smoke. Guess that's bullshit. They don't know shit. They don't know shit. Yeah, I know. Steam isn't supposed to set off alarms. Burnt water. Maybe you have a fake alarm, maybe. Oh, it looks like a normal alarm. Maybe it's like a cheap Mexican knockoff alarm or some shit. If I look real close, it's like El Smoco Alarmo. More likely, it's like a cheap Chinese one. The Shinji One Smoke Company. Number one detection. Cheap shit. Geez, Paul, I'm sure Mexicans can make a smoke detector. I didn't say they couldn't. I'm just saying that it's very common for us to import cheaply made, half-assed goods made in the third world. I'm not saying they don't know how to make it. I'm just saying they cut corners that American companies don't cut. Hence why you buy cheap shit that fucking is dead the next day or doesn't function the way it's supposed to. It's not an indictment of the people that live there. Jeez, Paul. What kind of union were your parents in? So my parents are members of local number 254 in Madera, California, glass molders, pottery, plastics, allied workers, and AFL-CIO union. Their union covered glass bottle makers, pottery makers, plastic bottle makers, box makers, basically anybody that touched the shipping and filling process. They were adjacent to winery unions, although not the same union, and bottling plant unions, although not the same union. So they covered that. They were in a union that covered that specific area. People that worked in plastic bottle making plants, glass bottle making plants. Yep. AFL-CIO, CLC, logo number 254, GMP. Nowadays, it seems there's no union specialization. I know of one union applicable to me, and it covers retail workers. Yeah. I mean, retail work is a specific kind of work. It's different depending on what kind of retail you do, but that's true of glass molders and pottery makers and plastic workers. Very different needs in their factories, but they are all kind of in the same wheelhouse. You've never known someone in a union? It's not shocking. It's not incredibly common. It's not certainly not as common as it was back in the 60s or 70s for people to be trade unionists or general unionists. Union work has been weakened, and labor unions have been weakened. There's very few strong ones. The ones that remain too are often run counter to some of the things that I think that make unions fucking function. So, for example, because the correctional officers / police union is so broad and powerful, they don't have to abide by the same kind of rules that my parents' union did when it came to the productivity of their plant. So the way a police union should respond when a police officer acts in a way that is indefensible is to absolutely immediately push that person out of the fucking force. You do not want, as a person who's in labor, for the view of your factory or your retail space or your police force to be one that people hate. You don't want to be known as a place that can't get a fucking bottle made. You don't want to be known as a place where police officers don't protect and serve, they shoot people. But because the union is so powerful and isn't challenged by an overarching organization that puts some kind of rules on it, it's it's allowed to continue down that road. And so it makes police officers look bad. Same thing goes for teachers' unions, and one of the last big, strong unions. So isolated and so powerful that they do things that make teachers look bad. They protect teachers that are poor teachers, that treat their students poorly. I saw it in action when I worked for the school district. I worked for the school district for 8 years, and I use this, it's kind of incendiary, but I use it in the same way. Bad teachers, teachers that don't have the temperament to be teachers, don't have the patience to be teachers, don't have the technical know-how to be teachers, don't have the multitasking ability to be teachers. They're not fired. They're traded around school to school, kind of in the same manner that the Catholic Church deals with abusive priests. They're not fired and defrocked. They're just moved to another parish where nobody knows what they've done. How do you prevent corruption? There has to be overarching organizational oversight, and there has to be a reinvigoration of what it means to be in a labor union. But preventing corruption is 100% of the job of a unionist. Like you need to understand that you will be opposed at every fucking turn. Infiltrated, subverted, physically, emotionally, mentally drained by the company and its agents. And that's part of being a unionist, is annulling yourself against that and not losing sight of the goal. It does not make teachers' unions look good to protect bad teachers. It does not make police unions look good to jump to the defense of cops that shoot people in the back as they're running away, or strangle cops in the street, or strangle other people in the street, I mean. Yeah. I was talking about this for a long time yesterday in a voice chat filled with a lot of young black activists. I was chilling in a space on Twitter. There's a sense of fire and anger in people, but also a sense of unwarranted optimism when it comes to this shit. And having like just a sense that people have forgotten the power of the labor movement. They've forgotten that it once mobilized, hundreds of thousands of people. A lot of people don't know this. We recently covered it in a Women of the Labor Movement private show for the patrons. And the 1963 March on Washington, the famous march where Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. Everybody's heard about that. Everybody's seen pictures of it. A lot of people think that that was a civil rights march, but it wasn't. That was a labor march. That was a march that was organized by labor agitators and labor organizers to demand better contracts, to demand $15 minimum wage, not $15, but to demand a minimum wage increase, to demand certain things. So that was a labor demonstration that reached out to the civil rights movement and joined forces with the civil rights movement, but it was not organized or populated by the civil rights movement. A lot of people don't know that. It was a labor demonstration where that happened. So Let's get it right. People have forgotten that power. But to marshal that power, there has to be an overarching structure. Yeah. You okay, baby?
Yeah.
All right. I love you. Drive careful. How should mob interference with unions be dealt with? There's a number of answers to that question, right? So there's a really great documentary that if you've never seen it, I recommend you find it. I think it's available on YouTube in its entirety, an award-winning documentary from the 70s called Harlan County, USA, about the coal miners union there and what they put up with in order to get a concession. And so a lot of your questions are answered by the various tactics that you see in that documentary, but I'll give you a rundown. One of them is the use of cameras. So making sure that there are people there filming what's going on. Even back then, they made sure that there was documentary evidence of what happened. And they made sure that the media was alerted. One of them is using the wives and children of laborers in order to force the people who are brandishing guns or threatening or mobbing other people with, having to run over our children and our wives as well. One of them is just arming yourselves. This happens in Harlan County as well. And they send these people that the people in the strike call gun thugs. Othello just linked the documentary, by the way. They send these people called gun thugs, and they will brandish weapons, and hey, you need to move, because the strike tactic that was being used was blocking off the access road to the coal mine and not letting any day labor through, not letting any scab labor through. And so they would pull all their cars up and block the road, and there's no way around it. And these dudes, all these scabs would be lined up. And amongst those scabs would be certain guys hired by the company to break the strike. Go over there, wave their gun around. You need to move his car, blah, blah, blah. So eventually that shit escalated to the point where one of the strikers, one of the miners, got shot and killed. Just shot in the head with a shotgun and killed. And so at that point, when the company escalated to the point where they sent a fucking hitman to shoot and kill somebody on the strike line, at that point, everybody on the line had a fucking gun. It didn't escalate until that point. Them just brandishing guns, people just stood there. As soon as they shot and killed somebody, everybody on the line had a gun. They set up the cars in the same way, and people were over the top of the cars with their rifles. So you can see a number of different tactics used in the getting of one type of concession. All effective, by the way, because they got their concession. You got to watch that documentary if you haven't seen it. It'll blow you away, the power that just a small group of people has to affect massive fucking change. Some of the tactics that they use too. Still tactics that are used to this day by coal miners, by the way. They fucking got money together and bust those strikers to New York City and put them right downtown in the financial district with protest signs and shit to let people in New York know, hey, workers are getting fucked over in Harlan County. They've stolen our contract, they've stolen our hours, stolen our health care. And it was effective because it got national news media attention. Of course, it's completely like gray area legally when we're talking about having gun mercenaries. Because those gun mercenaries, they're never going to say, oh, yeah, the company told me to come out here and shoot these people. In fact, the company probably didn't tell them to do that. They're probably slick about it. They were just like, look, you're the boss. You need to get these people into work. Do whatever you need to do. You know, and the guy goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, they did it at Standing Rock. The company probably told them any means necessary, right? It was implicit. But if the guy is ever arrested or asked, you know, hey, why you have a gun? He's just gonna be like, look, I'm defending myself. The last time we came down here to go to work, they got violent. That's all I brought it for. To protect myself if they got violent. You know what I mean? But really what they're there for is to flash it at people and go, you better move this motherfucker. As soon as the cops show up, we're just trying to go to work, sir. Plausible deniability. That's how they live in that gray area. Of course, these people are explicitly hired by the company in order to rabble rouse and strike break. That's it. There's some great fucking scenes in that movie, dude. A lot of the labor movement ends up being led by women because the men can't risk being associated with it. So women end up on the strike line a lot in Harlan County. And there's this one woman, I can't remember what her name is. She absolutely just like takes control of this interaction with the sheriff. The sheriff comes up and he's trying to do his law dog thing. And he's like, you know, I'm here to help, but you guys are going to have to move these cars off of this road. You're in violation of this. And she just won't hear it. Every time he starts to talk, and you can tell he's never been talked to. Like, this is a small little town, you know what I mean? Never been probably dressed down by a woman like this since he was a little boy. And he just turns into a little boy again. She's not like aggressive with him or threatening, but she's just like, you're in violation. You're in violation of the rights of labor workers coming down here trying to break this strike. And you know it. You know it. You know in your heart that we have every right to strike peaceably out here. And for our concession, we're an internationally recognized labor union. You know you're down here to strike, break this strike. Well, you're just going to have to move these cars. Nope, you're going to have to move. You're going to have to move these people out of here. These are all scabs here to break this strike. That man right there, she starts calling out the gun thugs. That man right there took a shot up in the air the last time he was out here at night. You guys weren't here to see that. That man right there has probably got a gun on him. You're not interested in that. You're more interested in these labor people back here trying to get a concession from this company. She was just so strong, and he was just like, well, you know, he ends up going and like arresting the dude. He goes and arrests the dude as all the people are screaming, arrest him, whatever his name is, Cecil or Virgil or whatever the fuck. Arrest Virgil, blah, blah, blah. Arrest Virgil Lewis, arrest. And the cop goes over there and arrests him, hooks him up, de-arms him, puts him in cuffs, puts him in the back of the cop car, and then he goes back to the lady, The sheriff does. And he goes, all right, I've done what you've asked. Now, can we move this out of the way, let these people get to work? She goes, hell no. You think we're going to get out of the way just because you did your job? We know what the deal is. You're just going to take him up the street and let him loose, and he'll be back here in 15 minutes. No, we're not moving. You know how you can get us to move? Talk to the company about taking care of business here. We're not moving. You can arrest every last one of us. That's how you get us to move. Just watch it. It's crazy. He tries to act like they agreed to move or whatever if they arrested him. No, they just demanded that he arrest him, and he did. They never said, like, we will move if you arrest him. What's the best way to deal with scabs? Block their entrance to the fucking factory. 100%. They can't go to work if they can't bring their fucking cars up the road. So you block the road, and like most factories have what's called an access road. The factory that my parents worked at had an access road, where the road is only there to allow access to the factory. So scabs line up along the fucking road and then out onto the city road, and you just refuse to move. You've got your cars blocking the road, and you refuse to move. That's how you deal. What if they Uber or walk? They're not coming in. Like, what do you mean? What if they Uber? If they're not driving in, they're not walking in. You just have to be cognizant because the factory will open up different parts. There's bottlenecks usually for general entry, but there's always back entrances for trucking and shipping. You got to cover that too. That's blocked. No shipping. Front's blocked. No entrance. I would abolish the idea of a minimum wage, and I would infinitely and forever and for always tie wages to inflation and productivity, period. End of discussion. In the long term, I would completely abolish the idea of a wage and establish a UBI. But in the short term, fuck a minimum wage. Wages are tied to inflation and productivity, period. The minimum wage is, and cost of living. So the minimum wage is whatever the fucking cost of living in that area is, plus inflation, plus productivity. It's the only way you get people more than they need to live. And that's it. Companies can function just fine, trust me, paying those wages. They're incentivized to pay those wages. They don't want to. These companies would survive. Minimum wage is just an endless fight because right now there's people like the fight for 15. 15 is like, according to most studies, about $5.50 below what people actually need. It's something between $21 and $23 an hour needs to be what everybody needs in order to live a decent life everywhere. And right now people are fighting for 15. They're fighting for $5 less an hour than people need to lift themselves out of poverty. That's why I say abolish the fucking minimum wage and infinitely tie wages to productivity, company profits, fucking all this shit. That's it. You already need 22. When you're talking about having more than the bare minimum to survive, being able to like take a vacation once a year or have enough money to be secure if something fucking happens to you. You don't need 15. You need 21 now for that. Thanks for keeping the buffet churning this week, Paul. You're welcome. I would just rather add a UBI to everybody's wallet each month because I've worked very hard my entire adult life to make a decent wage. And if hypothetically you boost everybody to mine, that sucks. So sorry, Charlie. Yeah, that really sucks for you, dude. I worked my ass off my whole fucking life, dude. I'm not going to sit here and be salty at lifting people up out of poverty, bro. Sorry. My ego ain't that big. You got to check the ego. I'm sorry that you had to fucking hard scrabble to get a decent wage, but you should, you should not fucking stand in the way of people actually making enough to make a living. And you should not stand as a beacon that that's what you should do or that's what everybody can do. You want everyone to have more. You just don't want anybody to be lifted up to your status that didn't quote unquote earn it in the same way that you did because your ego couldn't take it. Just bullshit, bro. Just let go of it. Why do you care? I know you're not rich, but you're functional. Why shouldn't everybody be functional that works? Oh, because I had to suffer, yeah. Fuck that. Dude, listen to this. My dad used to beat my fucking ass. So guess what, dude? All of you people that escaped with this new timeout, you're grounded, I take away your PlayStation, I take away your phone parenting. You should have been beaten, dude. Because I had to go through it and I was okay. Fuck off. I'm happy that society, and I know kids are still getting beat on and shit. Don't get it twisted, but not to the extent that they were when I was a kid. I'm glad that society is slowly but surely washing its hands of beating on children. I don't look at children now and go like, you know what they need is a whooping. You know what that kid right there needs is a whooping. I just don't get it, man. Why be salty? You shouldn't have had to struggle to make a living wage. You shouldn't have had to beat your ass up working shit jobs your whole fucking life to get to a certain point to make a reasonable wage. And for you to look at like, well, I'd had to do it that way, so everybody should have to do it that way. I should have more than everybody. It's just fucking salt, dude. Here's some more salt for that ass too. Boom, dead as fuck. Slinging the salt. I gotta take a leak. I'll be right back. Wow. Come on, B. We'll let you little booty inside. We'll let your waggy little tail inside. Curly little tail. Whoa. Would you rather have a UBI, a 23-hour minimum wage, or both? If you see this when you get back, you can move on if you like. I don't mind. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would rather a UBI, but it has to be a functional UBI that's tied to, inflation as it would exist in a society like that. The problem with the UBI is that for it to truly be functional and lifting people up out of poverty completely and putting people in a position where, they can participate in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In order to do that functionally, you have to kind of eliminate capitalism. Right. It creates this insane inflation cycle where the prices of everything keep going up, UBI keeps going up, prices, UBI, prices, UBI, price, you know what I mean? And then you're talking about a fiat currency already. Like eventually it's just absurd. A universal basic dividend. I actually like that idea, especially if you make it global. That could change the fucking world, bro. If you made a global universal basic dividend, that means everybody in the fucking planet, whether they work or not, whether they fucking contribute directly in the eyes of fucking corporations or not, gets a piece of all of the profit that's made by every fucking corporation. Hell fucking yeah. That's actually not a bad fucking idea. Isn't that a UBI? I mean, it's a UBI that is functionally tied to like the things I was talking about. It's tied to people's the productivity of us as a species, which is all driven by workers. I mean, it's functionally different, number one, because there's no such global program right now. So you would have to, you know what I mean? You'd have to develop some kind of global program. Social dividend is the return on the capital assets and natural resources. Yeah, I like this idea. Here's the thing. I think that this moves us closer to the functional idea of a resource-based economy, right? Which a lot of the questions that linger about a resource-based economy is who's distributing these resources, who's making them, who's creating them, and how are they compensated, right? So this is actually moving us functionally towards a resource-based economy, which is why I really like the fucking idea. What was the name of the person you talked about? I want to look them up. I want to look up this idea because I want to like expand my base of knowledge on it, because this is a really interesting talking point that may. Yanis Varoufakis. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to fucking go take a note real quick. I'm going to fucking copy your shit. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. That didn't take long. I just had to go take a little note. Boy, you gonna burn out that coil with that massive box. Bruh, I know how to handle a coil. I'm vaping at 9.1 watts. That puts it at 3.83 volts, which is exactly where a coil like this would be if you put it on a tiny little pin. I'm not an idiot, bro. I know Ohm's law well enough to not burn my coils. This'll burn all the way down to the head, and I won't have to fucking recharge my pin every 5 fucking minutes. This is THC. This is DMT. This is actually a Cali Clear Live cartridge. It's a live resin cartridge, which is really interesting. It's a very mellow high. Like, I've been tooting on it pretty regularly out here, and I'm pretty stoned, but it's kind of a very lucid kind of high. If Paul was doing DMT on stream, he'd literally be making no sense if he was able to talk at all. Yeah. That's true. That's a true. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end this. Happy Labor Day. Why does weed get you high? Is it an insect repellent? Oh my God, what a way to end it.